morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are in another GCSE scenario this morning. We were going to do it slightly later, but we've got other things, so I'm going to get it out of the way early for you guys. So sorry if this is a touch too early for some of you. How are you all? Cloda, Brenda M, how are things? How are tricks? Obviously, the sun is out. It's always the first thing people talk about, isn't it? The weather. The sun is out. What's the weather like? What's the weather like? Why do we do that? Brenda M, good morning. Cloda, morning. Raspberry Mojito Girl, good morning. Was there a coffee moaning yesterday? I can't quite remember. Erin Bullimore, hello. Hi, Jew. What's that? Jew Osler. I've got some good news for you. Tell us, share it, share it. Theresa Ray, good morning. Joan Williams, good morning. Lorna Stewart. Let me just pulled you up over here. Just 1 second. I can read you. Hi, Stuart G. How are you, matey flip? Good morning, Angela Thompson. Lama. Morning all. Sun looking lovely outside. Leah, pat on the back for me. I made it to the start of a live. Leah. Pat on the backsies. Faith Goodman. Did anyone else watch Debt versus... Oh, I heard. Yes, there was a clip. I forgot to mention this actually. Yeah, we were obviously our agents were approached regarding that clip because obviously they had to seek permission, and I completely forgot it was going out. Yeah, what happened? It was a clip around the announcement of the trial verdict, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. But yeah, no, must check it out. Nanny Di, if you didn't see it, yeah, how funny, how funny. Who'd have thought that terrible Wi-Fi live could have gone anywhere? Morning. Learning sat knitting a baby cardigan. Wow, Teresa Hutchinson. Learning what? Knitting? Several clips, Faith. No way. Flipping heck. Oh my Lord. How weird is that? Thank you, Karen Martin. It's The Last of Us. It's my comfort hat. It's my comfort hat. I'm filming and editing today, so I put the comfort hat on and it keeps me. It's like an armour. Interesting headwear, Mark. Edward Bevington. The Last of Us. The Last of Us. Yes, you'll have also seen Nadia quoted about Scove, Gordon the Gopher and all that sort of stuff. Well traversed, I think. I think she negotiated it very well. Linda Fissett. Hi, everyone. Not joining live for a while. Have watched If I Have Been Up. Is this earlier than usual? It is. Stacey Randall's back up to her naughtinesses again. Stacey... why are you so racy? It's just Stacey, who's lacy and racy. Jew Osler, I didn't see your... No, where's it gone? It's gone flying up. Where are you? Jew, Barley McGrew, Cuthbert Dibble, and what's the final thing? Does anyone remember that? Was that Trumpton? Jew, where is it? How far up is it? Where are you? I'm going. I've got some good news for you. And then I'm scrolling all the way down. Where is it? Where is your good news? I can't see. Can anyone else see it? I'm striving, Jew. It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. It's not there, sweetie. Grub. Grub? What's grub? I don't understand. Grub. What does grub mean? Sorry, I'm late. It's all right, Tina Davis. Tell him again, Edward. Yeah, grub. You've got grub? Food? Oh, Cuthbert, Dibble and Grub. Oh, sorry, Jew, you said grub. And I'm thinking, is that your news? Grub. Talk about talking at cross purposes. Cuthbert, Dibble and Grub. Trumpton. Helen B, feel for you as I'm the same. Oh, Cuthbert. Hey, what was it? Boo, Barley McGrew. I've lost it. Ethbert, conflict. I don't know what's going on. Anyone who doesn't know old British kids TV, you probably think we've gone into some kind of strange time zone. Jew, I can't find or see what the news was other than grub. Stuart G, I've been in the gardening for 4 days. Sick of it now. When you've done a lot of weeding, Stuart G, just a little gardening moment, I was weeding so incessantly the other day that when I went upstairs to lie down, wasn't it just have a power nap at about, I don't know, 7:30 in the evening, I could what I could see visually with my eyes shut was the POV of descending on another, my hands descending on another weed and pulling it out. I mean, that's sad, isn't it? Your story's been accepted for a book. Ju, congratulations. Everyone give Ju a huge round of applause. That's brilliant news. Accepted for a book. We can't wait to see it, Ju. You'll have to send us photos. To weed or not to weed, Lama? Amber, I've just read it. Thanks, darling. Hope you're well, Amber. Look at this, Jules. I've submitted a story which is going to be published in a book and will be available through Amazon. Winning. Winning. Well done, you. No, everyone's giving you a round of applause there. So yeah, 5 of you. Stacey has just gifted you 5 memberships. That's so sweet of her. And because she's always so generous, I am gonna match that and I'm going to do the same. There you go. Hang on. Hang on. Where is this going? Oh, might not be able to do it on the live. Is it going to let me do it on the live? Come on. Yes? Yay! There you go. So 10 of you randomly are going to win a membership. We thought we'd match you. We'd see your 5, and we'd, what's it called in poker? See your 5, raise you 5. Just get weed killers, save the... Yeah, but weed killers, it's not a... Me and Nanny Di were going to do a live Green Figured Hell about rewilding. Weed killers. Apparently, you know, if you go the route of rewilding, basically, everything that grows in your garden you should allow to grow. It's kind of a bit... Oh, Stacey's raised her 5, seen my 5, and... Karen Martin, you can either join, but very occasionally... people like Stacey will gift them, which is an incredibly kind thing to do. But if under normal circumstances, if you are on a up-to-date device, you will see underneath where it says subscribe and all that kind of malarkey, it will say join. And then if you join, you get regular, though increasingly not weekly, but regular members' lives, only because schedules sometimes disallow and people's availability. And every week you'll get a No Name Sunday show. There is a shift to things this weekend. We were going to do a pre-recorded No Name Sunday show prior to and land it on Saturday. Given the complications of the Curly Cooks going on tour, bless them, there are going to be 2 lives in the members area on Sunday. And there's going to be a Curly Cooks live on the main channel. That's the plan. That's the plan. So yeah, you're going to get double bubble in the members area. And God only knows. What I'm going to try and do is give you some of the behind the scenes. It's going to be like This Is Spinal Tap. It's going to be like Ozzy Osbourne on hummus. If you know what I mean. Because of course, Dina doesn't take crack. I wonder how rude me and Dina will be able to be. We have brambles to try and deal with. Yeah, well, the rewilders would say keep the brambles. In fact, the rewilders, if you go logically to the nth degree of rewilding and ecological care, we should just let all our gardens run riot with madness. Richard Grindley, 20 years of sobriety on Saturday. Richard, bish, bash, bosh, I wish I had your legs. I'm catching up with you though, Richie. I'm catching up with you. I used to look at your kind of personal bests on your Instagram and go, oh my God, this man is an absolute Trojan. But now I'm looking at it going, okay, I can at least get within 5 minutes of your personal best. Anyway, that's fantastic news. Congratulations, Richard. That is such good, huge round of applause there. And also Tim Reed recently hit 2,500 days. Just brilliant, 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 brilliant. One day at a time. Don't be thinking about the giant thing. That's what I was saying to Kiki again for her GCSE. Don't be thinking about all the questions. Don't be thinking about all the test paper. Just go slow and slower still. Daisy, I hear. Well, we knew because we were approached, but I didn't know it had gone out. Best is the fear Don't know, just every now and then I feel like an absolute I sometimes worry that it's a bit sort of, it's compulsive, isn't it? Okay, so dark news. Well, dark news insofar as who he is and what he did. Obviously, this news landed after yesterday's Coffee Money. Rolf Harris has died. Reese Roberts, have you seen Beau is Afraid yet? I personally really enjoyed it and found a lot of meaning and thought-provoking commentary. Review is coming. Reese, baby. I don't know if you've seen Soft and Quiet, Reese, but I'd love to have a natter with you about that too. Pleasure, Richard. Well deserved. Win-win. Boom, boom. Rolf Harris, obviously he died. I don't think there's going to be any sadness around that. It becomes a very complicated thing. I mean, in a weird way, obviously, we posted on the Coffee Moaning stories. Was he entitled and right to have a secret funeral service? Am I right in thinking that funeral services are essentially open events? Even if you have your invitees and what have you, if someone wants to pay their last respects, they are allowed to? Is that right? Or can they be barred? Is there a sort of... I'm not entirely sure. I mean, obviously, if you've got heavies on the door and all that kind of stuff, but presumably, anyway, do you think it should have been secret? I suppose that's the question. Was there any benefit? Would there have been any benefit in it not being secret? Should Rolf Harris have had a secret? Or would actually it not being secret allowed people to... Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. How's Iran? Hi. Yeah, I think I replied to you not that long ago, actually. Do send over. Or is there something cathartic in knowing it was happening for any victims? Michel Mead had to be private. I mean, I suppose the reason, if it wasn't private, all hell could have broken loose. Faith Goodman, Rolf's family shouldn't suffer, though, by press at funeral. I mean, that's the thing about this, isn't it? Whilst on the one hand, obviously, everyone will be feeling that, at the age of 93, I think it was complicated, neck cancer. I don't know why, I'm always, cautious about saying it's a good thing, but it's his family. It's the family, isn't it? Who will forever, throughout their lives, be caught in that sort of emotional, spiritual quagmire of what he did and how he'll be remembered, and trying to square that with their sense of him as a father, a grandfather, a husband, and all that kind of stuff. Michel Hofsing, glad it was private. He didn't deserve any kind of press. Teresa Hutchison, not his family's fault he turned out the way he did. I used to love Roll Cartoon Club when I was a kid, and a hospital show he did in the 90s. Oh, God, yes. Do you remember that hospital show? He used to do the vet show, didn't he, as well? I'm not too sure. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. We must try and hook up. I mean, I dare to say we hook up for a run, because I'd be talking to you for 3 minutes. Well, that's ambitious, for 20 seconds. Animal Hospital, that's right. So yes, I think it is right that it was a private or a secret funeral. I think that's the right thing to have done. I mean, regardless of, I'm sure his family have strong opinions on what he did, and whether they feel that, and it's, in a sense, they will want to, no one person is just one thing, so they will have wanted to remember and pay tribute to the person none of us necessarily will remember or will want to remember. Gloria Chesham, he was a great artist though. It's weird. I mean, my sense of how important he was before all of this came out was, I remember him doing some kind of drawing and using a technique, which I ended up using a lot, and it allowed me to paint. He was actually incredibly good tutor, unfortunately. So there we go. Yeah, so that's Rolf Harris, who, as we said, died shortly after, or was announced that he died shortly after Coffee Moaning yesterday, and he had a secret funeral. And I'm with the majority of you. I think for his family, it should have been secret. 3/4 of you say yes. 1/4 of you say no, because I think it is an open door policy, isn't it? It's an open door policy at funerals, pretty much. Even if you can't literally walk through the door, you can stand outside the church. No one's going to stop you walking up to the church. Wedding revenge, four weddings and a funeral, this isn't it? Wedding revenge, guys. If you knew your bride or groom to be had been unfaithful, could you call them out? Oh, look, it's going to fit. At the altar. Wowzers, gazouzers, dadowzers. Now, I remember many, many years ago, sadly I've lost touch with this person, I was the only person who knew that one half of a couple had been unfaithful. Both people getting married knew, but I was the only person who knew. And so, of course, when there is that sort of crunching moment where someone turns around in the church or the registry office or on a yacht, wherever you are, and says, what is the phrase? If anyone knows any obstacle to love, or if anyone has any dispute, if anyone wants to throw a spanner in the works, is that what the vicars say? Not a spanner in the works. Sorry, I just froze there. If someone throws a spanner in the works, I couldn't say anything. Even though I knew, obviously, I wasn't going to. I discussed it with them. If anyone known here present, just cause or impediment. That's it. Impediment. And then obviously everyone turns around, and more often than not, there's a sort of jokey look on one of their eyes, like, come on. I'm sure there's lots of, does anyone else find this a curiosity about hen nights and stag do's? That essentially it seems to be the mission of all the hens, are they the hens? No, the hen is the woman. All the henettes and all the staggards to get the soon-to-be married individual into all sorts of trouble. Do you know what I mean? It's weird, isn't it? The aim of this hen do is to lure you close to being unfaithful. So anyway, this is the story. Obviously, no names or anything like that. This is someone who was it? Who was talking on a podcast. There's a podcast called The Unfiltered Bride, and they talked about a story in which a husband found out that his partner was having an affair, and then it came to the speech. It wasn't necessarily as they were doing their vows. And apparently the groom stood up and just before I properly get started, there's envelopes coming around now, and if you could all open them up, these are pictures of the bride effing the best man. So I'll be leaving now. Photos of them, whatting. He dropped the microphone, and all his family knew about it and left. So it was en masse. They all knew together. They wanted the bride to have had to pay for all the food. Oh my God. Karma is a bitch. Karma is a bitch. The best man is as well. So not only betrayed by your partner, your wife, but also your best man. How often does that happen, I wonder? The best man and your wife, or the maid of honor and the husband. Oh, God. Let's have a look. A third of you feel that you could do that at the altar. You have to have some balls, don't you? Probably not the most apt kind of analogy. It's like something out of Dynasty, says Sarah Begley, EastEnders. Leslie Sargent, I see a lot of stags going away at the airport. So funny seeing them dressed up in the funniest of outfits. I remember seeing, I think we've said it before, a hen do heading out to Barcelona. And they all got on the plane with hats that had penises on, wobbly penises on their heads. I've never seen a more miserable bunch of women. They all look, there's nothing funnier. They might not have been miserable. They might have just been at that point not off their tits kind of going nuts because they were finding their seats. There's nothing funnier than about a gaggle of 12 women. I think they were dressed as sort of, sporting fairies, with a sort of a sweatband with a penis attached, all looking quite seriously for their chairs. It was very amusing. What a bunch of dickheads. Andrea crashed back of the class. That's a good reason. Okay, you can take that note. You take that note to reception, you'll be fine. So yeah, exposing cheating wife and best man by sending... How did he get the photos? I mean, that means they must have taken the photos, right? The couple, I guess, and they must have intercepted it. He must have found them. He must have found them on her phone. Ooby dooby doodah. So groom exposes cheating. Now, something else I popped in the title is pain. Feeling pain, or I've just put the word pain. And I asked on Instagram, what would you do, Mark? I just wouldn't go, Fatima. I just wouldn't go. I think I could. I don't know if I could do. Don't know if I could perform it. It's humiliating enough. I don't know if I'd want to then sort of re-humiliate myself in front of everyone. Do you know what I mean? If you could feel no pain, would you? There's a reason for this story. If you could feel no pain, and I mean physically or mentally, would you? Would you go for it? If you could be offered the choice of feeling no pain, would you go for it? CCTV, then screenshot shadow my life. Wow, God, you've thought that through. This is a woman has been diagnosed or found to have a rare genetic mutation which allows a 75-year-old woman to feel zero pain. She's in the Highlands of Scotland. She lives a virtually pain-free life. Scientists have found out why. There's a photograph of her looking incredibly happy. I mean, you know, one often thinks, doesn't one, that good can only exist with bad, happiness can only exist with sadness. Presumably, a pain-free existence can only exist with pain in order to kind of compare and contrast. But they've discovered a rare genetic mutation in a woman that allows her to live pain-free. The same biological mechanisms are believed to be the same thing that allow wounds to heal. The same biological mechanisms are believed to allow her wounds to heal more rapidly. Wow, these findings are being published in Brain magazine, and a professor at UCL Medicine says that by precisely understanding what's happening on a molecular level, we can start to understand the biology involved, and that opens up possibilities for drug discovery. So she has mutations in the previously unknown gene far out. That's a joke. Feel no pain, stress or fear, and they've called the mutation far out, F-A-A-H out. No. It said the researchers found that far out mutation turns down the expression of the FAR gene, which is associated with pain, mood, and memory. This is a research project where they're taking the piss. They must be taking the piss. I reckon there's a bunch of students who have banged on a big one, and they've gone, look, guys, let's tell my nan to say she feels no pain. And then let's say the gene is related to the FAR gene and say it's far out. That's, well, I mean, it's presented by Sky News as news, but it feels a little bit wacky-backy, doesn't it? But then it just made me think philosophically. I thought, would I like not to feel pain? I'm not entirely sure I would. Oh, look, half of you would. If you could feel no pain physically or mentally, would you? Slim majority would. Yeah. Happy 16th birthday, Kayla. Bev Berry's Kayla. Happy 16th birthday, Kayla. Just hitting the opium pipe. Far out, guys! Imagine a world with no pain. Ooh, yeah, you see, Teresa Hutchinson, I think we'd all like to select moments. She also doesn't struggle with anxiety. I mean, this woman must be on cloud 9, literally. I wonder if that's what her... I mean, she doesn't struggle with anxiety. She doesn't really struggle with depression. She feels no pain, stress, or fear. Karen Davis, how would she know if she'd hurt herself or injured herself? Exactly. I wonder if she looks at it benignly like, Very weird. A new series is landing all about mermaids, but obviously they're not mermaids, they're mer-persons. They're not really mer-persons, but these are people who've committed their lives to being a mermaid. And this is a new series that's landing on Netflix. And it just made me think, what must it be like to be a mermaid or a merman or a mer-person? Do you think mer-people ever existed? I just think it was the hallucinatory wishful thinking of pirates who couldn't go to the loo, personally. But anyway, no, seriously, this is a new Netflix series. I just thought I'd flag it up. And it's about people who perform at places like in Las Vegas, circus acts, stuff like that. But there are also some people who've really committed to, wanting to swim and live as mermaids or mermen or mer-people. But apparently one of the things that just struck me that, what are the practicalities of being a mer-person? I thought they were supposed to be vicious. Check out that Pirates of the Caribbean where their teeth come out and they woo you. They're sirens. They sing and they take you down. And I think it's the way I'd want to go. There's a few biological limitations to a mermaid. I mean, don't want to go there. But yeah, apparently some of these people who live as mer-people have to use lube to get their flippery bits on. It smells a bit fishy to me. Danielle, I wanted to be the mermaid from Splash when I was a child. Do you remember that? Daryl Hannah. Flapping her leg, flapping her fin. Of course, The Little Mermaid is coming out soon. I think it looks lovely and escapist, and I wish I had toddlers, but we don't. But apparently mermaid performance is very hard. I imagine it's a little bit sort of analogous or like being a synchronized swimmer, except they don't have those ridiculous grins on their faces. There's I think they should. I think poor old synchronized swimmers is tough having a smile like that. So the series will take us back to a mermaid show that began in 1947 at Weeki Wachee Springs. I just wanted to say Weeki Wachee because it sounds funny, guys, in Florida. Barbara Winds, who's now in her 70s, started working there as a mermaid after watching the balletic mermaid show at 13. We were all teenagers in the woods. It's hard to be a mermaid in a wood. You keep stumbling over logs. Couldn't see the wood for the trees. Trees for the wood. A lot of weird shit happens at sea that they don't mention. You damn straight, matey poo. But anyway, check it out. When does this land? This is landing on Netflix. When is it? From the 23rd of May. Mer-People. I'm going to tune in. I think you should too. It's been official. What's this? Children's vapes contain unsafe levels of lead and nickel. Vapes confiscated from children at secondary school had more than twice the safe level of lead and more than 9 times that of nickel. Which is pretty damn frightening. These findings were made by the Interscientific Laboratory in Liverpool. They tested 18 vapes taken from Baxter College in Worcestershire. And this is kind of first-hand evidence that, do you remember when there was the hysteria, rightly so, in the 70s about lead petrol and how it was poisoning kids, especially as we were at the level of the exhausts running around London. So if lead was bad then, and they don't make lead pencils, so they're graphite, then how can lead in a vape be a good thing going into your lungs? It just can't be. These are the kind of things that we've often said will come out across time. All these things. And then we're all going to look back and go, that benign thing called vaping wasn't so benign, was it? So a little warning. And Prue Leith has been talking about assisted dying. And this is always a contentious one, isn't it? I'm going to ask you a simple question. Do you think assisted dying should be made legal? Should assisted dying be made legal? Now, when I say that, I don't mean like willy-nilly. Obviously, Prue Leith talks about the fact that she worries that if it is made legal, there need to be all sorts of checks and balances put in place. Because not only is there the worry that families, through coercive control and for really horrible reasons, would want to nudge older members of the family towards their inevitable demise for inheritance and all that kind of stuff. There's also the worry, and she makes a really interesting point here, that it could end up, she's worried that the ending of patients' lives could end up being decided by the NHS in a sort of bean countering sort of situation. especially if the NHS is left to sort of decisions around it. This is something that's always troubled me. I do think that there is an aspect, presumably, to the NHS where they are stretched. It's not born of necessarily an evil, where certain people are considered not, well, in a sense, disposable, or at a point in their life where they can't be pulled back, or they can't be kind of looked after, and perhaps need to be let go. Do you think, and is there the worry that depending on which hospital you're in, and that is a pragmatism, but also it's a kind of one size fits all assessment of people who are terminally or very ill over a certain age. So for example, if you were to go into hospital at the age of 95, you're going to be given less potentially sort of effort than someone who obviously is much younger. And is that a right thing? Do we have to accept in society that we value the younger more than the older? But yeah, so what do you think? Do you think, so assisted dying, yes, 85% of you say yes, vast majority. Aaron Bullimore, I'm banking on assisted dying being a thing when I'm old. I do not want to waste away in a care home when I can't even feed myself or go to the toilet anymore. Agree, Linda. Margaret Ann MacArthur, why should people suffer unbearably? Gloria Chesham, my neighbour is going to Switzerland for that. He has Huntington's disease. Oh, God. Anne Murray, isn't it like that at the minute? I think it is. I think those kind of crushing decisions are made. I mean, I think without saying it or officially saying it, I think the system allows for people to fade away. Obviously, there can be no proof of that. But, fine line, isn't there, between that and, malevolent individuals. I'm thinking of a certain doctor. So yeah, you have to be coherent to agree to it, which I imagine often would not be the case, and that's where I worry about others making the choice. Holly McCready. Totally agree. Joe McKenna, my mum's renewed her passport in case she needs to go to Switzerland. We should offer Dignitas, definitely. I mean, I think we should offer it with all sorts of checks and balances and sort of, criteria. I mean, presumably, it would also, theoretically, if everyone going in was, kosher and happy, would it also not take a lot of pressure off certain parts of the NHS, so that in fact the front line of medical workers don't have that appalling dilemma when caring for people, because it's a huge dilemma, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure doctors and nurses are constantly having to juggle who's the more needy, who's the more deserving, who requires our attention more. Anyway, guys, well, there you go. That was longer than I was thinking. I was going to do just 20 minutes today. Guys, have a lovely day. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Do check out the coffee moaners this week. They've been colourful, to say the least. Vloggy stuff will be landing. I've given you a sort of heads up on what's happening at the weekend. Do go back. And have a good day, guys. Enjoy the weather. And yeah, look after yourselves.